Star Citizens. This should be our second video for today. This is going to be about which ships we think should win in the Star Citizen Ship Showdown, the live showdown. Now that it's official, make sure you like, dislike, leave a comment, and subscribe, or make sure you're a member to enter our ship contest where we are going to be giving away something special this month. So yes, make sure you do that. It's going to be a fun one. So let's get straight into this. This is interesting. So our last video, we talked about which one should win over the C1, Spirit, and the Mercury. So go and check that one out. And that was kind of our initial introduction video to the Ship Showdown. Now we're going to talk about which ships should win here in this tournament. Now, remember, when we say which ships we think should win, we're not necessarily talking about which ship is our favorite, because when we talk about Ship Showdown, what Ship Showdown means is this ship is going to get a little bit more attention and it's going to get some skins. And sometimes we want the skins, not necessarily do we want that particular ship to like be the favorite of anybody. So it's not the typical showdown that I think of when I think of like which ship is better, which ship would I rather own, so on and so forth. But it's more so a which ship do you think should win this contest, which means it will get a skin and it will get maybe a little bit more attention from CIG because people are looking at it and saying this ship is worth the time to spend time on, or something like that. Let's start with the STV versus Ursa medevac. Now, I think the Ursa medevac is the better vehicle. However, I would put my vote for the STV. The STV is a little bit newer. It doesn't have as much fanfare as the Ursa. A lot of people own Ursas. So we'll see if the STV can withstand the onslaught of that. That being said, I don't think any vehicle is going to outbeat any ship. So I kind of see this as a throwaway category, because I think the STV, if you look at the way this is built, the STV is going to hop here and then it'll go against either the Mercury or the Spirit. I don't think it could beat either one of those. So the C1 Spirit basically gets a pass going into the semifinal, which I don't like. And this is part of what I don't like about this. I think the Road Warrior division should have went against the Underdog division, because then technically all vehicles in a tournament like this are underdogs. So I would have put the Underdog division versus the Road Warrior division, because then all of those ships are underdogs and they have a more likely chance to make it to like something like the semifinals, where there's going to be more attention on those. And yeah, I just think that I don't like the way that they put the tournament together in that way. So I would have wanted to see the Freighter division, which has some really popular ships, go against some other divisions that have really popular ships. Like I would say like the Heavy Duty division, I would have liked to see it go against the Heavy Duty division or the Run and Gun division or something like that. We'll talk about it anyway. I think the STV needs some more attention, not because it's like specifically deserving of it or anything. Just the Ursa has a ton of skins already. I'm a huge proponent of the Ursa medevac. If you know this channel, you know that I think it's one of the few vehicles that everybody should own. Now, I'm saying I think when I say own, I mean it's one that people should purchase with real money. It's one of the few that I say, if you're going to purchase a vehicle with real money, I would say the Ursa medevac. I'll also just give you my three. There's only three: the Ursa medevac, the Rock, and the Nova tank. So the Ursa medevac I think is worth the purchase because it drastically changes your fleet to the point where you will always have a medical vehicle as long as you have something to carry it. And that's my caveat. If you don't have something that can carry the Ursa medevac, I wouldn't spend the money on it. You put the medevac into another ship and it drastically changes its capability, because now you can respawn in that ship if it didn't already have a medical bay. The Nova tank, I think the Nova tank might end up being locked behind some type of rep wall, or maybe you have to, be of some certain status to buy it. Or it'll be, I don't think it'll be particularly expensive, but I think there'll be some type of blockage to you getting to it, as in like you can't get to it unless A, B, C, and D have been accomplished, right? And so I think for that reason, it's worth buying with money if you're going to use it for military things, right? Like if you're into that type of gameplay, if you're not the type that's going to do ground combat in a scenario where there's a lot of ground combat, you're not interested in ground military combat, obviously it's not for you. But if you are interested in that and you know you're going to be doing a lot of that, then that's why I think that that one is a great purchase. And the Rock is just a moneymaker. So I think it's the best money making vehicle in the game. I'm hoping the DS gets a rework so then we can include that one in there. The Rock, I just think it's one of the best money makers. It to any ship that can carry it officially becomes a money maker, and I think that's one of the cool things about it. Like I would get a Nomad, which I think is okay ship, just so I could put a Rock on it and go and make some money. So I think it's pretty cool. The STV is a great vehicle. I wouldn't purchase it with real money. I would buy one in the game though, and it would be one of my first purchases if I had smaller ships, because the STV can fit in so many ships. And out of all the vehicles I've just mentioned, the STV can fit in way more vehicles than any of those vehicles that I just mentioned. So the STV is one of those. I need a ground vehicle. The Cyclone's too big. I need something that can, take another person around with me and still pretty fast and can get me where I need to go. But the PTV obviously is too small. Obviously, the PTV fits in the most. Actually, no, there's a hover vehicle called the Mirai Pulse that fits in the most vehicles. But the STV is like, I need to take 2 people with me, and I need a ground vehicle. That's the one I would take. Now, I think it'll have some competition once the Rangers arrive. I don't know if you can fit 2 people on the Rangers, but also it has some competition from the Dragonfly, because the Dragonfly can fit 2 people on it. And I think if I'm taking two people, I would rather have the Dragonfly. But the problem with the Dragonfly is it's super long, so it doesn't fit in as many vehicles as the STV. So the STV has its own little purpose there. So moving on to the 890 jump versus the 600i Explorer. The 890 jump is the one I would take here. Now, I don't own an 890 jump, and it's mostly just because I don't want one, to be completely honest with you. It's too big for a luxury ship for my taste, as in like I don't want my luxury ship to be like there's people way the heck over here and way the heck over here and in different rooms and in different levels. That's it's like a cruise liner in that way, or a yacht. And to me, that's not what I want my luxury experience to be in the game. I want us kind of to all be in one room, which is why I would go for something like the 600i Explorer, which you're not always in the same room, but you're much more closer together if you're in the ship. And the 600i Touring is of course the luxury ship, not the Explorer, but I would still say that the Explorer kind of fits in that luxury category. And I also, if I want the even more close category, close, togetherness of luxury people, then of course I hop in the Connie Phoenix Emerald, and that's my like everybody in one room kind of experience. So the 890 jump is not my cup of tea, yet I would still vote for it over the 600i Explorer, because again, the 600i Explorer has already received a Best in Show skin. The 600i Explorer has actually made the top 4 twice, actually. So the 600i Explorer, to me, it's already got 2 different skins from this contest. I get that the 600i, to me, I think it's the better ship. However, I mean, better ship, as in cost to value, or value to like usefulness. I would much rather hop in a 600i than an 890 jump on any given day, unless I'm literally just going to party. That's the only way I would prefer the 890 jump. If I'm gonna get a capital ship, I would prefer other capital ships. So that's why I think the 600i, and not to mention the 600i is getting an excellent rework that's gonna, I think, make it one of the best ships in Star Citizen. So yeah, I say that so I can explain to you that this is not, again, this is not about which ship I like more. It's more about which ship deserves the skins. The 890 jump has 0 skins. Zero skins. I'm actually hoping that it makes it all the way to the semifinal, but I don't think it will because of the next group. But it has 0 skins. I think they owe, I mean, come on now. You got people buying what, I think the 890 jump is 850 or 900. I forget how much the 890 jump costs. People pay anywhere from 890 to 950 for an 890 jump, and they don't have a single skin. Not even like you bought it at concept, here's a skin because it's a concept ship type of skin. So yeah, the 890 jump deserves a skin. That's the one I would pick. But none of that is relevant. 890 jump versus 600 is completely irrelevant because this one is the one. The underdog division has the ship that I want to win the whole thing. It has the ship that I want to win the whole thing, which is why I'm going to skip it right now. And I'm going to go to the demon speed demons, because the speed demons division, the Fury LX and the M50, the Fury has a ton of skins. And that's why I would go with the M50. I also think the M50 is the better ship. So this is one of those rare occasions where the better ship and the ship that I think should win coincide with each other, because the Fury LX, it is a good ship. Do not get me wrong. I like the Fury LX. I like the entire Fury series. I haven't done my videos on them, but I look forward to those. Make sure you're subscribed for when I do my reviews on that. I did just review the Asperia Talon and the Asperia Prowler. And I think my next one is the Asperia Scythe, which will be my last Asperia video. And then we'll move on to Gattack. But go and check out my Talon review. That's a pretty good one. But the Fury, I can't wait to review that one. I've already flown it. The M50, I've only flown once, and I already believe the M50 is better than the Fury. But you'll see that soon. But the M50, I think, is the more useful ship, as in because it's its own standalone ship, whereas the Fury is a snub. It's one you pack with another ship. At the same time, I wanted the P72 in here because I think the P72 is better than both of these. It didn't make it, so we got to work with what we got. But the M50 was voted on by my community as one that they wanted in here, so I am still glad the M50 is in there. I just wish it was the M50 versus the P72. So the M50, I think, is one of the fastest ships in the game, especially for its size. It's maneuverable as heck, and it doesn't have that many skins, and the Fury does. So I'm just going for the M50 there. Moving on to the Reclaimer and the Vulture. The Reclaimer, I believe, has already won one of these. The Reclaimer is got second place in one of these, so it's already got a best in show skin. So for me, I'm gonna say the Vulture. It's never got a best in show skin or anything. Now I will say this, right? This is one of the few ones that I don't care about who wins, because both of them have a ton of skins. The Reclaimer has like 8 skins, especially because it won Best in Show before, and the Vulture has, I think, 6 or 7 skins without winning. I'm only going for the Vulture because it doesn't have a Best in Show skin. So I'm gonna go with the Ship Showdown. Which one do I think deserves the skin? But both of these are solid ships. Both of these are worth a purchase. I think these are two ships that, buy it with real money, buy it in game, it doesn't matter. Both of these ships are excellent. I did a review on both of these. Go check those out. Both of these ships are just excellent ships. It's a shame that they even have to go against each other, but they kind of have to, because I feel like if they were any other category, I feel like it would just be a massacre. So I think that's going to make the Speed Demons division not matter, because I don't see either one of these beating either one of these. I think the Reclaimer or Vulture is automatically going to be in the semifinals running. Basically, whichever you pick here, you're going to pick which one do you want to go against the ships down here, and we'll talk about those. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Vulture on that one. The Sulian, the Alien division, the Sulian versus the Defender. Now, the Sulian, I think, is the better looking ship of the two, and the Defender, and it's close. It's close. The Defender looks awesome. But I do think the Sulian has it by like that much. Defender, however, I think needs more love. The Sulian is a modern ship, as in it was created recently. And I think because of that, the Defender should get more love, because the Defender, it needs like, I wouldn't say like a rework, but it just needs to make more sense, because right now the second person in a Defender doesn't really do much. And I think that is kind of a shame, because the Defender is one of the few ships that is like legitimately unique in the fact that it's a fighter, but it has beds and it has a small interior, so like you can do like, you know, a decent amount of like delivery missions. It's a very unique ship, and I just think it deserves more love. I do think the Defender has more skins than the Sulian, but this is one of those rare occasions where, because the Defender hasn't had love in a while, I would say the Defender should win in this category. Then you have the F8C Lightning versus the F7C Hornet Mark II. I kind of figured this was going to happen. These are just the ships that everybody loves right now, especially because they've sold recently. The F7C Mark II, of course, most people own an F7A because they did that event. Well, most people who did the event. I'm not going to say most people in general. Then, of course, F8C Lightning went on sale. Now, this one is a harder one for me because I own both of these. Both of these are in my fleet. Well, the F7A, not the F7C, but they get the same skins. And this one is very hard for me because I don't necessarily want the F8C Lightning to get a skin because I don't think a lot of people will own that ship. And I feel like I want the most good to come of this, right? And the F7C is the one that more people will own. However, the F8C Lightning only has one skin. And well, technically two if you pay, what is it, $15,000 in the game. It's not 20,000. I thought it was. It's 15,000 to get the executive edition. So there's technically two skins. One of them is locked behind a $10,000 paywall. The other is locked behind a $15,000 paywall. So technically, if you bought a $300 FAC Lightning, you only have access to one skin if you, of course, haven't reached those $10,000 and $15,000 marks. And I just don't think that's right. You know, if you're going to sell this ship, I feel like it should have at least one skin, whereas the F7C already has 6 or 7 skins. So this one is the hardest choice out of all of these for me because I really think that whichever one this is going to get a skin, because I think the run and gun division is going to sweep the alien division. Now the Defender, I know there's a lot of Defender fans out there, but there's just not a lot of alien fans out there. I'm thinking, you know, whichever one wins this run and gun division is basically automatically going to make it to the semifinals here. Because it's the more accessible ship, I'm going to go with the F7C Hornet Mark II, and also because I think those skins would be more useful once they release more Mark IIs, which we know is going to come. I think I'm going to go with that, even though the F8C I think still deserves a skin. Which one will win? I think this one's going to be a popularity vote. If it was the F7A, we might have a stiffer competition, but I think there's going to be a lot of F8C fans out there. But I also think there's going to be an F7C owners, so I don't know if this will be like a head versus heart thing for people where they'll be like, well, I own an F7C and I don't own an F8C, so I'd rather my ship win. That's the head, right? Like the head thing might be like, I want my ship to win, and whereas the F8C is like, I think the F8C is a little cooler, so my heart wants to go with that. So I don't know which one will win that one, but whichever one wins that one, I think is going to beat the alien division. Let's do some predicting here. I think the FAC Lightning wins, even though I think the F7C should win. I think the Defender wins. This is basically who I think will win, regardless of who I picked. I think the Vulture will win. I think the M50 will win. I think the Terrapin will win. I think the 890 Jump will win. I think the Ursa Medevac will win. And I think the C1 Spirit will win. I didn't talk about the Underdog division. I wanted to talk about that one last. This is the one that bothers me the most, because I think even though they're both underdogs, I think the Gladiator should have been in the run and gun division to give it another chance. Because now these are the two ships that I wanted to win the most. Out of all the ships on here, the ships that I wanted to win the entire contest the most are the Terrapin and the Gladiator. I would prefer the Terrapin, but the Gladiator was my close second. So now that one of them has got to go, I'm going to go with the Terrapin because the Terrapin is one of those ships that I think is super underrated as far as what it will be able to do. And the same thing with the Gladiator, I think it's underrated, but the Terrapin I think needs some love because I think it needs a variant. On top of the fact that it needs a variant, the Gladiator just needs a rework. The Terrapin just needs a variant. But the Terrapin is one of those ships that I can't justify the price of because it just doesn't have enough love given to it. And I think if they give it some more love, it'll be great. But the Terrapin to me is the ship I'd rather own between the two. I'm literally still considering buying a Terrapin just to have a Terrapin in my fleet, just because I love the way it looks so much. And I love its interior. I love everything about the Terrapin except its cost. It's $220, and that doesn't make sense for that ship. And the Gladiator, I think it just needs some love as far as rework love, because I think I think this is another one that I would do a Mark II. I would just do a Mark II Gladiator and give it the F7C Hornet treatment. And I was thinking that if it won, or if it even made it to the finals, this one would, you know, get some love. But now that I know only one's gonna win, I think the Terrapin's gonna win, and that's the one I would vote for anyway. Round 2, I think it'll be the C1 versus the Medevac, and I think the C1 is going to win. So I think the C1's going to the semifinals. Then it'll be, I think, the 890 jump versus the Terrapin, and I think the Terrapin will win, and it'll be the C1 versus the Terrapin here. Then I think here it'll be the M50 versus the Vulture, and I think the Vulture will win, and the Vulture will go to the semifinals. Then I think it'll be the Defender versus the F8C, and the F8C will win and make it to the semifinals, giving it its first non-$10,000, $15,000 skin, because everything that makes it to the semifinals gets a skin. So then I think here it'll be the C1 versus the Terrapin, and the Terrapin's going to kick the C1's butt and make it to the finals. And then I think it'll be the Vulture versus the F8C, and that one's tough. That's going to be the toughest one, I think, of the semifinals, because I think you're going to have a lot of people who own both, or it'll basically be the people who like non-fighters versus the people who like fighters. Even some of the people who like fighters, though, I think are going to push into this category, though. So I'm going to go with the Vulture. I think the Vulture might eke it out by a small amount, especially if it's the F8C Lightning. If it was the F7C that made it to the level, I would say the F7C Mark II might pull it off. But because it'll be, I think, the F8C, I think the Vulture will win. And then I think it'll be the Terrapin versus the Vulture in the final. And that is going to be up to you guys. I'm going to be pushing hard for the Terrapin to win, but it's a crapshoot of which one of those will win. And I'm if I have to guess which one will win, I know there's a lot of love for the Vulture. I don't think there's as much love for the Terrapin. However, I do think most content creators want the Terrapin to win. And so I'm going to say that with the push from content creators, including myself, I think the Terrapin's going to win and be this year's champion in the Ship Showdown. I'll do some more videos as we go through the days. I'll do a video talking through both of the ships that are doing the face-off. But before we go into that, I wanted to see if any of these ships are going to be, well, it doesn't say that any of these ships are going to be for sale. But my guess is whichever ones make it to the semifinals are actually going to go on sale. I was hoping that they would just put all 16 of the ones that are here on sale, but they are all flyable. So make sure you go out and fly these ships. That's not going to determine which one wins, though. Make sure you just come here and vote. So make sure you go to robertspaceindustriescom. I'll just walk you through it real quick. robertspaceindustriescom, click on Ship Showdown. And then you can come down here and vote. Yeah, the C1 Spirit is kicking the butt of the Mercury. So I'm pretty sure the C1 Spirit's going to win. So that goes with what I was saying earlier. So make sure you go in and check that out. And that's it for this one. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.